Caitlin has not had a proactive approach around toxic fandom and what's appropriate for, or something that she celebrates or likes to see in her fan base, or being proactive against any type of hateful discourse around WNBA and its players. However, when she's been prompted, she has spoken very clearly on those matters and has taken a strong stance that none of that is acceptable.
Now, I think that's one of the things refreshing about Caitlin Clark. I mean, I'm gonna come right out and say it. I mean, she's been very vocal about not condoning any kind of racism, etc., etc. And it's amazing how nobody addresses the racism that's going the other direction.
That's what we are seeing here with the Indiana Fever. We have to push this hate and jealousy to the side. It's so unnecessary. I hope that we move past it. She's elevating the game. She continues to do it and prove herself.
I'm sorry, but a lot of people are getting attacked from Angel Reese fans.
Because she's so critical. And again, as the Jackie Robinson, she has success. It's going to encourage and inspire other women to stand up.
Right? You don't hear much about that, do you? Especially out of people involved with the media. Nah, not gonna hear it, right?
And even though, Caitlin's doing it very subtly, if at all, maybe it's all unintentional, but I do know she's the target.
Here we are discussing Roz Gold-On Wood, who recently appeared on the Dan Le Batard show. It's no surprise she chose that platform to share her views on various social issues. She's been facing significant backlash for her comments, and I hope Caitlin Clark is aware of how this affects her brand.
They're all trying to frame this, the Caitlin Clark deal, in this racial envelope, and they're wrong.
Let's listen in and see the reactions, as it seems she's really taking heat for this. Honestly, we can all see where her political views probably differ from mine, but she hasn't really jumped into politics directly. What are they expecting from her?
They're not talking about basketball because you don't want to talk about basketball, just as you described there. You couldn't get any traction based on your basketball, and so you decided, hey, we got to talk about racism and sexism to draw attention.
Do you really have to be an activist to play in this league? It doesn't make sense to me.
We have to kneel during the national anthem to draw attention. It's bad strategy. You just wanted attention. You were being an attention whore.
These players should know that if she were to make some outrageous statement against white people, that's what some seem to want, right?
Someone showed up here who plays good enough basketball to draw attention, and now people are actually evaluating my basketball. They're having conversations about, well, who's Rookie of the Year? Who's the MVP? Is it Caitlin Clark? Is it A'ja Wilson? People are talking about basketball.
She'd lose a lot of money for that. It's actually nice that she hasn't gotten wrapped up in all of that.
However, when she's been prompted, she has spoken very clearly on those matters and has taken a strong stance that none of that is acceptable.
All right, let's pause right there. Why isn't that enough? I really don't understand.
And so this whole thing of, racism stopped the WNBA. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Here's the facts. Here's what's been the problem with the WNBA. Now, I'm sorry, these are just true facts.
Do you have to participate in every pride parade to be part of this league? Is that what it takes to play in the WNBA?
You had too many women tatted up and looking like men that it was unattractive. People don't want to see that.
Caitlin played at Iowa and almost went to Notre Dame. Come on, is anyone paying attention? It's just unbelievable.
Can we just like call a spade a spade? Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn.
Here's a little feedback on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player, I would almost joke.
JC, just let her be. She's already expressed her thoughts, and it's honestly crazy how much attention this is getting.
We started to learn that people were learning from us and able to follow us in a different way. And who are we following? Black women. So that's such an important part. And I think, again, I get sad when I talk about this a little bit in that we're still not talking about basketball.
No.
We're still not allowed to be focused on for our basketball play. And it's not to say we're not going to continue to combat these things. That'll always exist, I think, in the fabric of our league. But we still aren't talking about basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, someone even sarcastically said Caitlin Clark hasn't spoken about Russia attacking Ukraine in almost 2 years. Is she a Russian asset?
We started to build a backbone, a little bit of an identity.
Got
we
organized.
understood that in order to push our league forward, we were going to have to combat these things. And then you know what else we learned? It feels good to stand up for yourself. It feels even better to stand up for others.
It's just absurd. I really appreciate that perspective.
I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued as a basketball player. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play. I think everybody in the league can say that. But nobody ever let us do that. So what happened?
Sure, people can say it's her choice, but it feels like they've already made up their minds about her if she decides to go a different route.
People don't want to see women doing an impersonation of men. I know that everybody in San Francisco and everybody on the left loves a drag show, but there are a lot of traditional sports fans who have no interest in going to a drag show.
It's like everyone wants her to be the next Caitlin Luther King. That's just funny.
Speaking of freak athletes, Caitlin Clark effect has now hit the WNBA. It has been announced today.
But the best basketball of the weekend, the best player in America, the best shooter in America, Caitlin Clark.
This is just crazy. Why do some people think others owe them everything?
Intrigued because there's a league with players that feel like they should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key.
Who gives them the right to make demands? It's really puzzling. This situation is only going to keep going, and Caitlin is going to keep facing criticism on the court.
It's going to be, before the argument was the league is much more than this one girl that came into the league,
right.
And we've established it. And hey, look at the numbers everywhere else across women's basketball. It's not just Caitlin Clark; it's all of us. And then the moment the ratings tank, they're going to come back and say, see, we were right all along. It's all the racists that follow Caitlin Clark that were watching the product, and now they're gone, and we're back with our diehards. And that's the ratings that you're seeing, actual W fans, not WNBA, actual W fans.
Let me get it right.
That's going to be the argument.
The scary part is that Caitlin Clark could really get hurt in this situation. It seems like nothing will ever please these critics, and they know that any backlash could damage her brand. They don't care about the consequences. They're not benefiting from it at all. It feels like they don't want her to succeed. And honestly, it seems like jealousy is driving their behavior. She's made her point, and it's time for people to ignore the trolls and take away their power. Caitlin Clark really doesn't need to comment on imaginary racism. It's understandable. It's just wild. She doesn't have to be an activist. In fact, that kind of advocacy has made the WNBA less appealing. Just play basketball, for goodness sake. Why does it seem like every player in this league has to be some sort of activist? It's ridiculous. Caitlin has already stated, I don't support this. I don't support racism, but that's still not enough. What do they expect from her? Should she dye her hair purple or something? I almost joked about her going blackface, but wow, that would really blow up in her face, wouldn't it? Seriously, come on. She's just a walking example of indifference. Like, nothing to see here, move along. I've watched my favorite player get completely sidelined on the court, and all they say is, we just play hard. Sure, but it feels like a mugging every third game she plays. The league has a real issue overall. I love physical basketball, but I don't want wrestling antics mixed in. I watch those on a different channel, and yes, I'm a huge football fan. That's a whole different sport.
Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her?
You wouldn't believe it. Nike has finally broken their Caitlin Clark silence, but not before Adidas.
And with that, Nike has not done one thing to promote her. We have not seen any commercials. We have not seen any ads. We have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise. And we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature shoes.
Adidas was miles ahead in congratulating Clark on her Rookie of the Year success.
It's like, wow, Caitlin Clark comes out of Iowa, and I started saying after her junior year in college, like, hey, man, she's the biggest star in college sports. And then after what she did at Iowa her senior year, I started saying, hey, I think she's going to be the biggest star in sports.
What a first season. Congratulations to Caitlin Clark, the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year.
And we've never seen this. This is a woman in America that is going to dwarf the men in terms of popularity and influence, driving. We haven't seen this since Tiger Woods.
Nike's ugly shirt for Caitlin Clark's ROI award sold out in 50 minutes. That's what Nike awarded Caitlin for her record-breaking first WNBA season.
The WNBA's never had anything. Nothing. Cheryl Miller couldn't really move the needle. Candace Parker couldn't really move the needle. Now they have this woman.
A t-shirt, that's it. Nothing was said about her own shoes, while A'ja Wilson has been awarded promotions and is the heart of Nike's WNBA push.
And she's made the WNBA relevant. And I'm like, why isn't she being promoted? And how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it a 22 or 32?
$28 million
$28
over
million
8 years.
Over 8 years. I'm like, that doesn't add up to me.
Even though it was just a simple shirt featuring Caitlin's records, it sold out in 50 minutes. Remarkably, that shirt only took 5 minutes to produce, yet it broke sales records, outperforming anything A'ja Wilson has achieved for Nike.
I think some of this might be a little bit of revisionist history. Going into we all sat here and argued that she should go back to Iowa.
Yeah.
Because she would die and get swallowed up in the WNBA and everybody would stop watching her. That's when Nike struck.
How can Nike create such a basic shirt after an incredible season? If Caitlin were with Adidas, she probably would have already had her own shoe and it would be sold out everywhere.
I think they got this well before she was showing triple, quadruple the ratings of other WNBA games.
So far, Nike has released 0 products featuring Caitlin Clark since signing her.
I thought like, hey, this will be over with after college, and said so on this show. And my memory, and it could be wrong, but within 72 to what's 72 times 86, 96 hours? Is it 24 times 7 plus 20, 96? Within 4 days, I'm telling you, I think I had pivoted to, I think I
definitely pivoted after the WNBA draft. For sure you were pivoted by then, so it was before there was a game.
Okay.
In the sports world, few athletes stir as much debate as Caitlin Clark.
It wasn't a long process of me going, hey, I think this will be over, to, holy cow, this woman's going to be the biggest star in sports, and I'm not Nike. They're experts at this.
The young basketball sensation who has made a significant impact.
They were able to see, and again, you weren't around at this time, but it's like when Michael Jordan left North Carolina, it's not just his size that 2 centers went ahead of him. No one fully understood what he was going to be in the NBA. And there's a guy at Nike that they made the movie about that Matt Damon played or whatever. Sonny Vaccaro. Yeah, Sonny Vaccaro, thank you.
The Iowa star has broken records, drawn comparisons to legends, and emerged as the face of women's basketball, even in her rookie season. However, despite her remarkable accomplishments on the court, Clark's relationship with Nike and the WNBA has been complicated and at times frustrating.
And make people get subscriptions instead of me just reading your stuff out loud. But back when Nike stock was around its all-time high, I wrote a 5,000-word essay on the corporation's awkwardly angry play for female customers. At the time I wrote it back in 2021, I couldn't foresee that the mega corp would sign history's biggest women's college basketball phenom in 2022. How fortuitous. I also couldn't foresee that this player would maintain the fame momentum through her interest into the WNBA, where she'd finish all first team as a rookie, and who could have predicted her games would average more than 1 million viewers, contrasted against the games of other players that would register 300K. Road arenas packed where she goes, crowds of girls wearing her jerseys. Nike signed her through 8 years at a cheap rate. You tell me that, and I assume Nike's doing fantastic in 2024, because it sounds like you're describing a billion-dollar athlete who suddenly appeals to previously unreached demos. The apparel behemoth has majority male customers and has long craved similar success with women. Fortunately, they signed the woman to build a brand around.
Nike, known for supporting top athletes, has surprisingly downplayed Clark's success, instead choosing to promote other players.
It's pretty cool. It's got I feel like it's Fever, but it's also Iowa, so you get the best of both worlds. I have another one that you'll probably see me wear later on that is even more Fever, so just wait for that one. But yeah, you got the yellow. They look a little similar to the Bruce Lees that I wear, but like still different. I like the gold swoosh. It's the black and yellow. You can't go wrong. It's just the best color. Honestly, I didn't design these ones. I just said, yes, I love them. Please give them to me. So they do their job. They do it really well. So they're pretty cool.
His signature shoe in his rookie season. When can we expect yours to come?
I don't make those decisions, so you have to wait and see.
Adidas has been quick to embrace Caitlin Clark, especially with Billie Jean King, a sports icon and Adidas ambassador, recently praising her for an outstanding season and Rookie of the Year win.
Caitlin, if and when Caitlin gets her own shoe, do we expect you to wear it?
For sure, anything for C-Squared. She better give me all the colors I want, though.
Has she given you any hints as to what it might be like, anything?
No, not at all, but I'm sure that when it comes out, she's gonna make sure that, you know, we kind of get an experience of it. That's just the kind of person she is, so I can expect, like, once she establishes what she wants to do and how it goes, we'll be one of the first people to see it, I hope.
This endorsement came when Nike, Clark's official sponsor, had yet to fully recognize her achievements.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Nike's been a tremendous partner and was a partner of mine through college, and, you know, deciding what I wanted to do professionally, like, that's just the brand that I always wore as a kid. So, like, being able to be with them is a dream and, you know, something I don't take lightly. And I'm not giving any teasers, though. Like, I don't do that. So wait and see. I don't know. And who knows? Maybe it'll come. Maybe it won't come. I don't know. Who knows?
King's support highlights Clark's significant impact in the sport. Meanwhile, Nike faces criticism for not fully backing Clark while promoting other WNBA athletes.
Caitlin Clark continues to set the bar when it comes to her impact on female athletics. She's got one of the hottest selling jerseys in sports, y'all, according to Fanatics, led by the one and only Michael Rubin. Clark's Indiana Fever jersey is apparently sold out in all sizes. It was rumored that she actually outsold Dallas Cowboy jerseys, although that hasn't been entirely confirmed, of course, because that would be a feat. But in addition to the jersey sales, Clark now has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that will include her own signature shoe. The deal is the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. She deserves it!
Particularly Aja Wilson. Although Wilson is an exceptional player, Clark's popularity surpasses that of nearly all her peers.
I do agree with the sentiment. It's really the confluence of a lot of positive things coming together on the business side, on the basketball side, and it's the rise of women's sport. It's Caitlin and others, Angel Reese, that big rivalry coming out of last year's national championship. So this generational talent, they have big followings on social media, increased media attention with ESPN and ABC, and our asset values are going up. And, you know, we raised that capital about a year and a half ago.
Despite this, Nike has been slow to acknowledge her talent, while Adidas seems to have recognized her potential much earlier, aligning with a player many see as the future of women's basketball.
You gotta also expect everywhere that Caitlin Clark goes, she is going to get a little bit extra from the other team. And it is because how much we've put her sort of on this pedestal, right? Like, so you know you're gonna get a little extra. You know you're going to get a little extra from the other team, clamping down.
Billie Jean King, a longtime advocate for equality in sports, didn't hold back in her praise for Caitlin Clark.
Kinsey, can you believe the hostility this girl is facing for the crime of getting people interested in the WNBA? You'd think the players in particular would be grateful.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kennedy Carter just proved that she's as trashy as her mama spelled her name. And to dramatically recreate Charles Barkley's rant, y'all petty. He said, you women out there, y'all petty, man. He said, these girls are hating on Caitlin Clark. They should be thanking her for getting them on private charters, all the money and visibility she's bringing to the WNBA, what she's accomplished. He said, give her flowers and stop being petty. And he even thanked her for bringing all of this new money and shine to the WNBA, something that you and I would never be talking about typically.
She highlighted Clark's dedication, record-breaking performances, and undeniable impact on the game.
Well, let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the number one pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does.